What is going down, everybody? How are we doing today on this beautiful Thursday? I hope everyone's doing well. And if you are seeing me on Jason Aponte's channel right now, and you're like, who's this guy? Who's this guy with the ginger beer? Jason, he's about to be on. We've both been kind of playing the daddy role today. We've had to make sure our kids are all set up. So he's going to be with us in about 2 seconds. Just wanted to make sure this thing got going before it kicked us out. But he will be joining us here very, very shortly. So once Aponte comes on, we will bring him up and we will talk 49ers football. And right on cue, it looks like Aponte is ready to go. I believe the daddy duties are set and we can start talking about 49ers football. Want to make sure he's Gucci before we bring him on. But I'm excited. I'm excited to talk with the Aponte. Want to make sure he's Gucci though. But once Aponte's on here, as he comes right now, let's go, Jason. How are we doing today, my guy?
Running around. You know, yesterday was Avery's birthday, so I would like to think that's the reason that you and I did a show, but then you look up and Big Brad's got the Barbarian. That's his name now, the Barbarian. And I just wanted to say before we got on, bro, before we were talking, shout out to you, man. You keep working, you keep crushing it, man. I'm so happy for you, bro. Nobody deserves it like you do.
I appreciate that, Jason. And happy birthday to Averly, man. I hope you guys had a great time and
Oh
were
yeah.
able to take a step away from some 49ers content, enjoy it with the family. What'd you guys end up
Oh,
doing?
Chuck E. Cheese birthday party yesterday. So, Avery, bunch of pizza, some of her friends from her school, some of her family. And just moved around, played a bunch of games. But the idea of going to Chuck E. Cheese on a Wednesday is to limit how many kids are there and how crazy it is. And it was perfect and it worked out
Great
perfectly.
strategy. Great
Right.
strategy. Because I'm sure you probably had the place pretty quietly to yourself for the most part, right?
Oh, yeah.
Wednesday, nice and chill.
Yeah, like you only have to push like 4 or 5 kids down to get pizza, and you only have to knock one kid out of the way so you can play basketball. So that was a relief for me because if you have to knock down multiple kids and you're talking about like 6, 7, 10, you're probably gonna get arrested. So there we go with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk some 49ers football and let's talk about some of the recent moves. Obviously, we're still in the middle of free agency. Actually, before we get started on 49ers, what did you think about the Tyreek Hill trade, man, to the Chiefs, sending Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins? What was your first initial thoughts on that?
This is the craziest NFL offseason that my 75-year-old ass can ever remember. Ever. I've been through it all. I done seen salary cap. I done seen non-salary cap. But shout out to you, Dion. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you, Jesus. I appreciate you too, man. So yeah, shout out to
They're
everybody.
all coming and
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
dropping happy birthday for Averly.
Appreciate y'all. But yeah, man, this off season is insane, man. Like yesterday was an odd day for me to take a step back from social media and things like that because of how quickly things happen, right? You get a report that says the Chiefs were trying to hammer out something with Tyreek Hill and they were on their way of working. Shout out to you, Jason. And then all of a sudden it goes from, well, not only are they not going to they're not going to actually sit there and talk with him. They allowed him to like get permission to look around, and then all of a sudden within an hour it's down to the Dolphins and the Jets, and then Mike McDaniel's booms has his Deebo Samuel de facto that he wants in this offense in terms of get him the ball in any sort of way or anything like that. It's just the craziest offseason. I mean, the best receiver in the league gets moved. A top 5 receiver, top 7, top 10, depending on who you ask, gets moved. I don't remember such movement with such impact players, right? Like there may be players that move that either have had injury concerns or are recovering from an injury, something like that, right? In that fashion. Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams are at the top of their game. I don't remember how many times things like this have happened. So the Tyreek Hill thing, it sets off a chain of events because One, thank God I was off of Twitter because of this. One, it starts to get people thinking that they should be maybe looking for a similar return for this young man.
I'm glad you wore the shirt too.
Oh yeah. I had to today just for that,
I'm
and
glad.
also it sets the wide receiver market, which is why you saw Deebo post what he posted towards AJ Brown and their representation in terms of things just got serious because you asked for that, I'm gonna ask for this, and it all kind of started with Christian Kirk. Once Christian Kirk walks away with the bag that he walks away with, appreciate you. And once he walks away with that sort of bag, you put yourself in Deebo Samuel's shoes. Christian Kirk hasn't had 3 years that have done what Deebo Samuel did in 1 year.
Right.
So if you're asking for 20, I'm going to the 49ers and saying I want 40 because I have doubled your production in 1 year,
Yes.
right? And in 2019, he had injury concerns, but he played more. So it's chain events, right? Like, so if you don't think that the Tyreek Hill thing has repercussions, I would ask you to reevaluate that a little bit more just because, one, the market now has been set in terms of what high-level guys make. And then when you think about Deebo Samuel in terms of what he actually does for this team and not just receiving the ball, why wouldn't he ask for something similar or something in that pay grade? And I wouldn't be mad at him.
I mean, again, I'm super happy that you're wearing this shirt because it's a perfect transition into kind of, again, I was doing the Javon Kinlaw interview. I was preparing and prepping. I was off the timeline.
Flexing.
And then I got on and it was trade Deebo. Should the 49ers trade Deebo? Deebo traded. He should be traded. He's going to want like the I wasn't expecting it, but I mean, I should have expected it. But what do you make of that? Do you think there is any like logical thought process to that? Do you think, I think because the way I was seeing it was they see how much money was going to be required from Tyreek Hill. Chiefs clearly didn't want to spend that much, at least to that level. It sounds like they made a substantial offer. It just wasn't to the level that Tyreek wanted. They allowed him to seek a trade, lands with Miami, sends a bunch of picks back. It feels like people are taking that same thought process and applying it to Deebo. Do you think that is, how do I want to say this, a logical way to approach the Deebo contract extension conversation?
Okay, there's two ways to look at this. One of them is, hey, look what Tyreek Hill got. Now look at what Deebo Samuel has done and look at the haul that you can get. But I want to push back on that by telling you this is why you don't trade Deebo Samuel and this is why you don't trade substantial people, okay? You trade Deebo Samuel, you get all these picks, cool. Again, all of you guys, once the picks that they make don't hit, you're going to look at me and say, it was a crapshoot. Oh, it's the draft. It's a crapshoot. Who knows, right? Oh, okay. So you're going to trade what you know for what you could possibly find, and you're not going to find anybody like Deebo in the draft. Sorry, guys. Spoiler alert. But then, you know what is also funny about trading away your players is you have to substitute for their production. Now, how do you do that?
Was the 49ers offensive production last year.
Let me give you an example. Tyreek Hill gets moved. Tyreek Hill may not be one of your top 5, top 7, top 10 receivers in route running, anything like that, but impact, I think it's pretty easy to say that he's a top 5 guy, right? Especially in that offense, with that quarterback, with that play caller. It's all like, it all fits perfectly, which is what makes that move more curious. What did the Chiefs do today to substitute for his success? They signed Marquez Valdes-Scantling. No disrespect, MVS. No disrespect, man. None at all. But you are not duplicating anything. I don't give a shit how fast you run the ball with the ball in your hands. You are not duplicating that, dude. So, for 49er fans, I want to tell you that. Sure, you can have it your way. You can get everything that Miami got. Cool. You're excited about that. Miami got what? A first, a second, a fourth this year? Right? That's this year. And you get other picks later on. And you get, the Chiefs got. And then Miami gets Tyreek Hill and they get to load up this offense. Cool. But then the Chiefs turn around and they sign a Marquez Valdes-Scantling who probably has less catches than the millions of dollars he made. I thought the deal was 3 for 42. I don't even know if Marquez Valdez-Scantling has 42 catches.
He might not.
He doesn't.
He might not. And he had Aaron Rodgers at quarterback over there in Green Bay. And he was like wide receiver 2.
Right. So I hear your thought process on recouping picks, but you have to substitute for that success. And where is that going to come from? I don't know where that's going to come from. And that doesn't make much sense. Now, I will also play devil's advocate here and say this. Deebo Samuel's had one largely productive year where he was not injured the entire time, and that was this year. Okay, cool. If you're hesitant about paying somebody that amount of money because of 1 year, okay, I can listen to that argument. But when you look at impact, when you look at the way that they're utilized, you are not simply going to just have somebody step in and say, well, he's going to take the Deebo role and we're good here. No. Deebo don't grow on trees, which is why he deserves that amount of money. Tyreek Hill don't grow on trees. That's why he deserves that money.
I think it's important, too, to remember rookie Deebo Samuel took about 8-9 weeks to really catch on, and he even went back and credited Emmanuel Sanders' addition to the room and kind of teaching him how to be a pro that really made everything click. So you can turn to the draft, but Deebo Samuel wasn't Deebo Samuel until the end of his rookie year, into the playoffs. That's when we started talking about Deebo as one of those guys.
It's just, I think that a lot of people get wrapped up in, okay, trade this player and get picks, but you have to find a way to substitute for that production. How? And it's not as easy as all of that. When I say trade Dre Greenlaw, Azeez Al-Shaair is right there to step in. I'm not telling you to trade Dre Greenlaw.
You got Burks now?
Right. Like, I'm not trying to tell you that you're trading Dre Greenlaw to start DFF. Right. I'm saying that there's a guy right there that can duplicate that sort of production. Where is that on the 49ers? Where is that in the NFL? Why is it that everybody's going to look for a Deebo Samuel, but they can't find one? Right? One guy carries one jet sweep toss, and the announcers start yelling, man, they use him like Deebo Samuel. Look at him. No, they don't. Yeah. We had like 4 jet sweeps. It's not the same thing at all. So it's a copycat league in a very big way. But at the same time, you're going to trade away a one-of-one guy that 31 other teams are trying to find either in the draft or trying to get something out of. Why did the Jaguars draft Laviska Shenault? What were they talking about? Oh, he's Deebo Samuel. Dude, Traylon Burks. We were at the Combine. Who do you model your game after? I'd like to be Deebo Samuel. Oh, really? All of these guys want to be Deebo, and you want to get rid of Deebo. It doesn't make much sense, man. Look, 49er fans, it's March 24th. I understand. There's not a lot of free agency moves, but please, let's not get crazy. Please, just let's not get crazy. And thank God for Avery's birthday yesterday and that it came across yesterday because I didn't have to pay attention to it.
I feel you on that one because, to your point, the whole thing that these teams are trying to do is they're trying to find that Deebo Samuel. They're trying to find that Trent Williams. They're trying to find that George Kittle. So when you find them, it doesn't make a lot of sense to necessarily want to trade them. Now, obviously, we understand this is a business about, dollars and cents as well, not just what's going on the field. And so we have to take that into account. It sounds like the money thing became an issue with Tyreek. But if you look at the Chiefs, would you say the Chiefs got better with that deal or did they get worse?
They got worse. Don't tell me that you substituted Marquez Valdez-Scantling for Tyreek Hill, but you saved the money so you're in a better spot. What is their receiver core right now? I understand you signed Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju ain't ready to be number one. As you saw when Antonio Brown left, Deontay Johnson jumps right ahead of him because he's better than Juju. Juju is a complementary piece. Now, Juju has to be stuck in the slot. You got Marquez Valdez-Scantling. You got Mecole Hardman, who you literally panic draft because you had no idea what was going to happen with Tyreek Hill. And you were like, who's the fastest guy?
That's really what that was.
That's exactly what that was. That's not even my opinion. Yeah. It's like they literally were like, Tyreek Hill's going to be done for the rest of the year because his son's arm is broken. Who's the fastest guy in the draft that we can draft that'll be him? No. Do you understand that speed doesn't matter when you can't catch or if you can't run routes and you can't understand those things? Tyreek Hill and Mecole Hardman are completely different. So now you're talking about Mecole Hardman, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. If I'm a defensive coordinator and I'm not a very smart man, I'm bracketing Travis Kelce and I'm going to make you beat me with somebody else. Who are their running backs at this point? CEH, Darrell Williams is still a free agent. It sounds like Ronald Jones is going to be there. I was bigger on Ronald Jones than he actually proved to be. So maybe a
I
change of
was in the
scenery
same
would.
boat with you.
Yeah, like I think that the change of scenery might help, but this offense is not nearly as scary. Wasp doesn't work in the Super Bowl. Sorry, 49er fans. Wasp doesn't work in the Super Bowl without Tyreek Hill, man.
Ouch.
I'm sorry. But that's what I'm saying. Look at this. Look at this. The Chiefs are worse. The Green Bay Packers are worse. You traded away Devontae Adams. You're not better. And how did you offset that? You're gonna probably try to draft Chris Olave or Jameson Williams or one of those guys. That's cool. That sounds good. But you're not better right now. You just lost Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Devontae Adams. Let's play I'm a terrible GM, and let's say the Green Bay Packers don't draft a wide receiver. Let's play I'm a terrible GM, and they don't draft a wide receiver, okay? Let's go like this into the draft, and we're just going to hit the button and pick everybody else. That would leave them with Randall Cobb.
That would leave them with their current wide receiver core.
Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, Robert Tonyan coming off of a significant injury, and Amari Rodgers, who I loved at the Senior Bowl.
They lucked out on Bobby Tonyan too. That wasn't like they, got to give a lot of credit to George Kittle for helping that man get up to speed.
Right. So if I could give 49er fans a little glimmer of hope while you're sitting here waiting for free agent moves and you understand you're not getting Bobby Wagner, the Packers are worse. They're not as good. And the 49ers were beating them when they had Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Who in the NFC has really made a leap? The Rams got Allen Robinson. Do you really believe that the Rams are necessarily better right now, even with all the losses, or are they at the same? Either way, the 49ers were right there with them. They beat them 6 straight times, and then, they had their chance at their 7th straight time, and we all know how that worked out. Seattle's done. Arizona's in shambles. The Cowboys are whatever. The Saints just got back Jameis Winston. Are you supposed to be scared of them?
You'd probably look at the Bucks, being probably one of the top teams in the NFC.
So it's like Bucks, Rams, Niners.
Yeah.
Bucks, Rams, Niners, right?
Yeah.
And what's wrong with that? What is wrong with that right now? Is as long as Trey Lance starts and you make all your other moves, and I've got some other thoughts about the Jimmy Garoppolo thing because I did read an article that kind of changed my mind a little bit. There was a quote that John Lynch threw out there that should have kind of told us, because I've been on the side that Jimmy Garoppolo is not stopping his team from getting anybody in free agency, but I don't know. At the Combine, John Lynch gave a quote that we could dissect real quick, and
let's transition into that. But before we do, I also have a sneaking suspicion that a lot of the people that are saying to trade Deebo Samuel are a lot of the same people that are calling Javon Kinlaw a bust. And if you really take a step back, those people don't understand what they're proposing is the same thing the 49ers are to Forrest Buckner. So again, you've seen the 49ers trade the Forrest Buckner for Javon Kinlaw. Shout out Javon. Of course, he was just on the show yesterday, but he's been dealing with injury, so he hasn't been able to really get on the field. And they're probably the same people calling him a bust because of the same logic that they're trying to apply to Deebo Samuel. So I understand, I guess, the thought to think about it, but to get on a platform and say trade Deebo Samuel, it seems a little bit premature at this time. But as we know, the 49ers and the quarterback conversation are one and the same. It feels like we cannot talk 49ers football without mentioning the quarterback. We had, Mike Florio. He is a constant stirrer of the pot in regards to the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say level-headed 49er reporter, guy who never has any sort of bias in any way towards the 49ers.
He is the most negatively biased reporter that I've ever seen talk about the 49ers. He was the guy talking about, Tom Brady, week 1, he's going to be the starter. Oh, well, turns out that's not going to be true. He goes on KMBR today. Jimmy Garoppolo is probably going to return. I see a world that exists where Jimmy's going to return. What do you think about all that?
What
do you think about all that? And what did you and also to talk about, again, that quote from John Lynch at the Combine and what it all means?
So Mike Florio, if he says something, then we should sleep good at night. for the people that don't want Jimmy Garoppolo on this roster, you're good now. You're good. If you needed any sign, it's a sign from a guy who desperately wants the 49ers to fail. Desperately. Nothing more than that. And if he doesn't want them to fail, secondly, what he wants to do is cause chaos, which is what he's trying to do right now. I don't listen to Mike Florio. I don't. Even when something he says confirms one of my priors or one of my beliefs, okay?
When it fits your narrative.
Yeah, if it fits my narrative, I still don't believe it because it's Mike Florio. Okay. The John Lynch quote that I'm referring to at the Combine, and he had a discussion with Matt Mayoko about, yes, we've mapped out plan A, B, and C, and if Jimmy Garoppolo comes back, we'll find a way to budget that, and that's all in our plan, in our process. But, and this is the part that I want to focus on because it's out there for anybody to go find, but it will stop us from being as aggressive as we can be in free agency. Not my words, not anyone's opinion, John Lynch's words. I will pass it to Brad, and I will leave it with that because those were the words he said after he got off of the podium, and I was able to ask a question, and everyone else was able to ask questions. So, do you believe what he said, or do you believe what he said? Because I believe what he said. Now I do.
Well, let's look at the facts. The 49ers have re-signed Kerry Hyder Jr. today, $1.5 million deal. They re-signed Jeff Wilson, 1-year deal. They've signed Dante Johnson, 1-year deal. Jordan Willis, 1-year deal.
Run it back.
George Odom, 3-year deal. Oren Burks, 2-year deal, worth up to $5 million. Hassan Ridgeway, 1-year deal, $2.5 million. Ray McLeod, 2-year deal. Charvarius Ward, 3 years, $42 million, 26 guaranteed. So, again, you passed it to me. If I look at the moves that would have been made up until this point, still looking at some glaring holes on the roster, I would agree with John Lynch. I would say that, hey, maybe the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo is still what is he taking up, like $25 million cap space in a cap hit, it probably is having an effect on who comes in and who they can sign. And again, 49ers are already competing against California state tax. I don't think people, think about that too much. But when it comes to signing on the dotted line and you see about 10 to 15% of the money that you want to take in evaporate immediately just because you're going to play in California, that makes a difference. So, I mean, the facts are there. They haven't really – I'm not going to pretend like I don't like what they're doing, but also you can see if I would imagine if they had more cap space available with Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster, they're making a couple more moves than just what they've done.
Well, I want to do an exercise, and I think I'm going to do this when I get off today because I've been sleeping all day with Avery because she's not feeling so well or whatever, so I'm going to be up all night basically. I want to do an exercise on teams that have lower state tax, and are they able to lure more free agents their way?
Ooh, that would be a great study.
Because why isn't that the Dolphins are a powerhouse every single year? Why isn't that the Jacksonville Jaguars are a powerhouse every single year?
Well, look at Jags, man. They have to pay mid-level guys.
So look, all right. So look at the Rams. The Rams are in Cali, right?
Good point.
But they make a big splash all the time. When the Raiders were here, they tried to make splashes. They just made the wrong ones. So I need to start looking into where free agents land, and do they necessarily land in places with less state tax? And does that correlate to winning football? Because that is an interesting way to look at it. And for sure, look, if I'm solely interested in money, I'm not trying to go somewhere where there's a bunch of state tax and all that stuff that you got to pay for. But are guys solely worried about that? And if they're not, then are they worried about winning? And certain guys are. How many guys are taking deals with the Jaguars so they know that they were going to lose 12 games a year, 13 games a year, but they're good because their money's good? But I'm talking about perennial Pro Bowlers, Hall of Famers, and does that correlate to teams being built in a better fashion because of the state tax? And that's something that I'm going to start to dig into now. Now, you've got me something to do now for the rest of the day today or whatever, instead of going to see Batman for the 6th time.
For the 6th time. I would love to see what you come away with because it is an interesting topic. Again, I don't think it's the sole reason, but it's a reason that, could, like, let's say that's a difference of $10 million. If it's a $10 million difference with a huge contract, I'm sure that can make or
I'm
sway
doing it.
one way or the other. I'd
Look,
love
I
to
love
see
you
it.
49ers. I love you 49ers, but if you put a contract in front of me to cover the team and you were like, we'll give you 20, but I could make 30 by being the Jaguars cover guy, I
What's
love
up,
y'all, but
Jags?
I gotta take care of my family. Duval!
Duval, what's good? We moving to Florida. Let's go. We out. I heard the beaches are nice over there. Yeah, no, I feel you 100%. So I'm sure it's a factor, but so going back to the kind of Jimmy Garoppolo situation, like last week, dude, we were on this show. Literally, I was updating Twitter about every 30 seconds we were talking. Why was I doing that? Because I was hoping to see the Jimmy Garoppolo trade domino fall. But since we talked last week, Deshaun gets traded to the frickin' Browns. Matt Ryan goes to the Colts. No one wants Baker Mayfield. No one wants Jimmy Garoppolo. What the hell happened, man?
So, all right. So let me be level-headed, even keeled.
Yeah,
Let me try to figure this out.
yeah.
Tom Brady coming back, Deshaun Watson being cleared, Indianapolis and Matt Ryan being made available, even with that albatross of a dead cap hit. Those were three factors I feel like the 49ers had no control over and didn't believe would have happened. So that's why, you know what? I'm going for it. That's why when we told you after you traded for Trey Lance that you had to move Jimmy Garoppolo right away, man, because
Yeah.
you couldn't play this game. You could not
No.
play this game. And once you start to play this game and the market dries up, now here you are. Baker Mayfield, Jimmy Garoppolo, equal handshake. Will Smith meme. How come they don't want me, man? You know why they don't want you? Your money is too much. And now they know exactly what type of player you are. Why isn't Seattle running out to go get Baker Mayfield at this point? You're gonna run it with Drew Lock? That should tell you everything you need to know right there. And with Jimmy, where's he supposed to go? Where is he going to go? Carolina doesn't want him. They've already paid Sam Darnold. It's just there was a limited amount of partners. Now, the Bucs were always there. We never believed that would happen because Bruce Arians would never let that happen. But then Tom Brady jumps in. Okay, that takes him off the table. The Browns, they're going to move away from Baker, but they get Deshaun Watson. Takes them off the table. And every single domino that fell, it fell the wrong way. The 49ers were playing, it's roulette, right? Throw the ball in, spin the wheel, and you know what? We'll come away with a second round pick. That's not how things work out when you start to see how other teams start to move. Throwing the shoulder injury, and I don't understand. I don't understand what the 49ers thought they were going to get after that, which is why for all of you guys that were like, man, you guys, well, look, they made the NFC Championship with Jimmy. Cool. You know what? I would have sacrificed that to get that off right now. And if Trey Lance would have been there and he would have improved in this year and he would have looked good and they would have won 10 games and maybe not made the playoffs, or they would have won 9 games, maybe not made the playoffs, I know where we're going. There's extra money, and you could have just loaded up this offseason with free agents. I'm sorry, man. I hate to be I told you so guy, but this is exactly what we were telling you about. You do not tell the starting quarterback that you are ready to move on from him by trading that much for number 3 and then bring him back and then say next year we're going to just move you for a hefty price. Everyone around the league sees that you're trying to get away from this man, and you have been for 2 years. And now you're sitting there like, well, why don't nobody want me, man? That's why. That's why. You had to make the move earlier before he played his way. He played the way that he did, which was literally, if Jimmy Garoppolo had a chance to do anything with his stock, it was this, right? Like send it up. Yep. Here's what he did this year.
He went
injured.
Down.
No, I don't. Maybe it went down. Injured and played the same style of football. Didn't change a thing. What makes that more enticing to somebody else at this point? The Pittsburgh Steelers said we're going to roll with Mitchell Trubisky, bro. That's wild. That's wild. Sure. Does that have anything to do with money? It does. It does. It does.
Mitch Trubisky can make more than Jimmy Garoppolo can.
Mitch Trubisky can, and you didn't have to trade any picks for him.
Nope.
But
he's younger.
I sent out a tweet that I thought was really, really, really good. How come nobody wants this locker room leader, winner, good guy? It's because the rest of the league knows. And the 49ers are the only ones still propping this narrative up and pushing it at this point. Tired of it. And they deserve all of it. They deserve all of it. There's no way they can escape this. You guys overplayed your hand. You thought you were going to get more. You deserve everything that's happening right now in terms of where you are with him. And now you have to backpedal. And the only thing that they get to fall back on now is that Jed said last year, oh, we're prepared for 1 or 2 years of Jimmy Garoppolo. So if Jimmy Garoppolo pulls up for OTAs, they can always look at all of you and say, remember what Jed said? Oh, that's what we were talking about. Blew it. Completely blew it. Botched it. Sorry, man. Nothing more that you can say. You botched it. All you had to do was cut the cord, rip the Band-Aid off, rip it off. And if the 49ers didn't make it any way that they did this year, that's fine. But if you see the progress of Trey Lance and you're moving in the right direction, and then you'd have $28 million that you could spend this year. Bobby Wagner, come on down. Chandler Jones, come on down. Lyle Collins, come on down. You could have had all of those guys. And now look at where this team would be going in this year instead of us discussing the fact that there is a real possibility Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be on his team by the time OTAs come. I don't understand. You blew it. And for everybody who says that Twitter GMs don't know any better, guess what? Victory lap time.
Bro, we've been stacking dubs. We've been stacking dubs for better like 2 years at this point. I think, because we've been doing this, of course. We were right about the Mac Jones thing at 3. But what's odd about the whole situation, because we're talking simply from a value standpoint, like not being able to recoup value from Jimmy Garoppolo. What about the value of the locker room? What about the value of Trey Lance and his experience? Because if there's anything that we've learned about last year, you took a 20-year-old kid and you put him in an environment where everyone around him didn't believe in him and continues to question the belief. So you're taking a kid, last time he played was 19 years old. He didn't play in 2020. You put him in an environment where the entire locker room gravitates to Jimmy Garoppolo and disregards the future of your franchise. And I'm sure there's going to be issues that come along with that poke up in the future. But the entire locker room gravitates to Jimmy in the sense where he can't even move to Trey unless an injury occurred. You go through the whole year, and now you cannot get anything for him. And now they're talking about running it back with Jimmy because he's guaranteed $7.5 million. That's not funny money to the organization. That's real money.
If he can't pass a physical, which he can't right now.
Yes.
Oh, God, Brad. I can't do this again, man. I can't do another year of this, bro. I really can't.
What was the tweet that you put out? That was a banger.
Look, the 49ers granted me permission to go look at other teams and try to find a trade to cover other teams. I'm sorry, guys. I love y'all, and you're still my favorite team, but I can't do this. I will not go to training camp, and I will not sit there, and I will not watch this happen again. I can't. I can't. It doesn't make any sense. And look, I don't want to be so negative, man, but if you needed more proof and that the 49ers did not believe that Jimmy Garoppolo was going to be here, why did they pay Nate Sudfeld guaranteed backup money, dude? That's not funny money either. Oh, my God.
That's now what they give him, $2 million?
Yes.
That's nearly $10 million in quarterback that you don't want to see on the field in 2023 or 2022, excuse me.
Well,
so that's another thing to think about. Like that's almost $10 million into a position where you want Trey Lance to be the guy, but you got $10 million invested into Jimmy, who's you don't want on the roster.
Brad, let's just say this.
Yes.
Jimmy comes back next year, and he's there for his full salary of the 28. 28 plus 2, 30. How much did Trey Lance get? 37, 30. So we're putting it 37. Let's put it at 40. Most people spend 40 on one quarterback, the franchise guy, not the entire room.
That's that's like a top 6 guy, too.
Aaron Rodgers is making 50 by himself. And you've got that money tied up in a guy who could possibly lose the starting job to a guy that, if I had to put money on the table right now, and I'm terrible at betting, I don't really care though, but I know what my eyes told me in training camp. If you're gonna make it a real competition and Trey injured, I got Trey breathing you out.
It's cooked. Jimmy would get cooked, and no disrespect. Like I think it was day one of training camp. Or day one of pads last year when we were at training camp, and it was the Trey Lance experience, and Trey Lance was doing everything. And you see Jimmy Garoppolo stay after to work on the long ball, and you're just like, ooh, this feels sad. Like it feels like
going out sad.
Yeah, like it was like, oh, he already knows. Like that's why, like you can sense energy, like you can sense body language, you can sense those things if you do this long enough. And that's what the vibe was. It felt like Jimmy was like, he knew the writing was on the wall. He's like, oh my goodness, Trey's throwing darts everywhere.
It's like let's see, it's like you're Shaquille O'Neal and you're not good at free throws, right? And you know what? That's a bad one. That's a really bad one because Shaquille O'Neal's like at the top of his game. Sorry, strike that from the record. It's like you're a basketball player, right? And you're holding on to your spot, but you miss a bunch of free throws at the end of the game, and there's a guy behind you that he makes his all the time, like he doesn't miss, and then you're after the game by yourself in the courtroom, and on the court, like trying to shoot free throws because you're trying to get yourself better because you know what's behind you, right? And I think that's what Brad's talking about, is that Jimmy was looking and he was like, oh shit, I can't do those things.
Right.
And he hears the crowd. We're there. You hear the crowd. Ooh,
Trey.
Oh. When Jimmy throws a pass and the guy catches it 80 yards and he wiggles through everybody and he scores, nobody was like, ooh, No, they weren't oohing and ahhing about the throw. They were oohing and ahhing about the move. So, yeah, he saw all that. The 49ers deserve this. They deserve it. They deserve it, man. They do. You got cocky. You could have taken your picks and ran. Whenever it is, last year, you could have made that move. You already alerted everybody to the league what you felt about Jimmy Garoppolo. This isn't my opinion. You flirted with every able-bodied, two-armed quarterback under the sun in this solar system before you finally came out to us at a press conference. I'm like, Jimmy's been our guy. Jimmy's been our guy. You worked out a guy from Jupiter. You brought in a guy from Jupiter and was like, yo, let me see what you got, man. Let's see what's going on. But then you look at us, you look at all of us in the face in a press conference. Jimmy's our guy. Jimmy's been our guy. Jimmy's always been our guy. The locker room loves him. Yeah, the locker room loves him. That's true. That's absolutely true. Jimmy's not your guy. You've been trying to replace him for 2 years. And now look where we are. We're about to go into the 2022 season with Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster because no one will take that money and because you can't cut him because he can't pass a physical. You deserve all of it.
Feels kind of self-inflicted, right? Because again, like what you're talking about, it's whether you want that smoke or not, people are going to see the move that they made to get Trey Lance, and they're going to instantly connect the dots, just like Jimmy did, just like the locker room did, just like everyone has done. And it just feels like it's gotten to this point where I don't know if anyone's going to come save them. I don't know. No. I think unfortunately, the Deshaun Watson chip feels like it fell in the worst possible way for the San Francisco 49ers. And as a result, has left catastrophe behind any potential landing spot that he could have went to. And now it just feels like they're stuck and they have to make the decision if they believe enough in Trey Lance to just eat that $7.5 million from Jimmy and move on with their life, or if they aren't because that's how it's going to be perceived. If they keep Jimmy, that is again another signal, whether they want it, they mean it, that's what they're trying to get across. That's a signal that's sent out. They don't believe in Trey Lance enough to just let Jimmy go.
So 2 things. And one of them is the most asinine, dumb statements I've ever heard anybody ever tell me on Twitter. The first thing is that Jeremy Fowler put out a report today saying that the 49ers have alerted Trey Lance, you're the guy. You are the guy. But the second part is I have people telling me you don't just cut a guy who is a backup. You do when he makes $28 million. You absolutely cut that backup, especially when you prepared for Nate Sudfeld to be your backup. The biggest sign that Jimmy Garoppolo was not going to be here was the fact that Nate Sudfeld signed a guaranteed $2 million deal. $2 million doesn't sound like a lot. That is backup quarterback money. Tyrod Taylor just signed a deal with the New York Giants, 2 years, $14 million, I believe, something like that, with about $5-6 million guaranteed. That's a premium backup deal. $28 million is not any backup deal. How can you bring this guy back and bring him into training camp and say, you know what, we're just gonna roll with it and just go ahead and also neglect, other portions of the roster that we need to, address, and we're just going to be fine, right? Like D4 is just going to magically wake up, his knee's going to be fine, and this guy's going to be good, and this guy's going to be good. You that's what you're going to start telling us. $28 million is egregious. And even if it's the $7 million off, whatever it is, cool, do it. You're still saving the money. But the problem is you're going to cut that money and then have nowhere to go with it because all the free agents are going to be gone. The only piece of positive news that I would say that comes out of this, if the 49ers decide to move on from him and they just have that money rolling, are two things. One is you could just roll that money into next year. Cool. Sounds good. Okay. Not the optimal approach, but you do get to roll that money over. Or halfway through the season, when you really see that there's a problem with your team and you have all that cap space, now you can make a trade for a blue chip player, for a guy who can step in immediately and help your team, right? Emmanuel Sanders came over here. It wasn't for a lot of money, right? But if you have, right, if you have $21 million, $20 million to move around, a guy who is like struggling in one place and you think you can get more for him, bring him in. A guy who is a superstar, maybe at the end of his rope, and the team is trying to get out of his contract and he can help you this year, cool, bring him in. You have all that money, especially if it comes into the fact that next year you don't have to pay those guys. So there's that part that you can be positive about. But overall, just the way that they're moving, the way that they're speaking, they didn't expect any of this to happen. None of it. They expected none of it to happen. And they thought they were smarter than everybody else. And now you have egg on your face because the rest of the league is looking at you like, what are you doing? And there's plenty of people that are sitting there that are saying they're literally bringing him back next year, which would be the absolute worst thing because, one, you are undermining Trey Lance's confidence, and two, you are sending the wrong message to everyone else. If Jimmy Garoppolo shows up to training camp, that locker room that loves him so much is not going to allow him to just be a backup.
No.
And that's the problem.
His contract won't allow him to be a backup.
That's what I mean. Who would have a $28 million backup? Please, man. I'm not even being biased, man, at this point. What are you talking about? And if you disagree with me on that, you just love Jimmy Garoppolo. That's it. I hate to be that guy. But if you disagree with that statement that there's a $28 million backup, you just love Jimmy Garoppolo. Say that. Say that then. Say that then. Don't say you're a 49ers fan. Say that then.
Say less.
Say that I would rather Jimmy Garoppolo be here and cause chaos and start than you saying that's the right option because it's the wrong option. But say that. Say that at least. Say that you want to be the Joker and you want to see mad chaos. Say that. Don't say that. Say that. Don't say that. Don't say that you actually really care about this team if you believe that, because you don't. You absolutely don't. You just care about chaos. And to a certain extent, I do, but not in that way. Not in that way at all. Come on.
I'm so tired, Jason.
I'm very tired. Andrew Pasquini, shout out to him. It's my favorite quote in the whole world. I am tired. I'm very tired.
I'm very tired. We're kind of feels like, the quarterback situation is emblematic of the Broncos Stadium, which is on fire right now.
Oh, shit. That's crazy, right?
Yeah, that's wild.
Did they get Derek Judy running routes over there? Like, and he just started it up?
Oh, jeez. Yeah, maybe it was Russell Wilson, huh? Mr. Unlimited.
Nah, there's nothing fire about Russell Wilson.
Jerome says, I believe the theory Washington wanted Jimmy Garoppolo, but he didn't want to go there. The front office did him a solid and denied the trade, probably thinking they can get that from another team. Washington football team pivoted to Wentz. Everything fell apart.
Boom. Jerome just nailed it. I think that's exactly it. Jimmy was like, I'm not going to that. I'm not going to Washington. Oh, it's all right. We'll find somebody else, buddy. We got you. Yeah. Now look.
They also Washington made the move before the no trade clause was waived, or before it got to that point. If Washington waited, maybe they could have got Jimmy Garoppolo, but maybe the asking price was too high at that time, and they felt that and we saw what they gave up for Carson Wentz. Do you think there was maybe a time that existed where the 49ers were asking more for Jimmy than what Carson Wentz was able to get traded for, and kind of went back to the
I don't know
Colts, I
about that.
believe?
I think that there's still a world where people still believe that Carson Wentz can be something because of his age, because of that, half an MVP season that he had. I'm not a big fan of Carson Wentz. I think he stinks, in my opinion. I think he stinks. That's the word I would use. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo stinks. I just think that he's not a difference maker. Carson Wentz stinks, in my opinion. And that's what Washington gave up. So it begs the question, do 49er fans and the 49ers front office evaluate Jimmy Garoppolo differently than the rest of the NFL? And I think the answer is absolutely 100% yes. You want high character guys. You want guys who are going to win the locker room. Good for you. I hear you. That's a good way to build culture. There's a lot of teams that don't care about that. They want some mean guys who are going to do some wild things or whatever, and it don't matter. As long as you do whatever it is on the football field, they don't care. All that, he's a nice guy. Who cares? They don't win football games. And that's the problem, man. It's just you yourself have overestimated him, his value, and how the league views him. The league views him the way that many 49er fans view him. He is an average quarterback who is not worth that money, and his win-loss record does not resemble or does not represent the quarterback that you see in front of you. And I don't even think that's a wild take. I even think that, again, the biggest Jimmy Garoppolo supporter, you really can't sit there and tell me that win-loss record shows you exactly what Jimmy Garoppolo is. How? How can you do that?
You gotta watch the tape.
Yeah, the 49ers don't win with them. It was Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard. It wasn't like the 49ers pivoted to another starting quarterback and that starting quarterback couldn't get it done. CJ and Nick are not good quarterbacks. Sorry, guys. Don't know if that's what you needed to hear. So when you prop up that record, why can't Kyle Shanahan win without him? It's because CJ Beathard and Nick Mullins aren't good. And Jimmy Garoppolo's better. But that doesn't make him what his record shows. My goodness, man. I feel like, again, this is what makes
we're so sick of talking about this damn quarterback situation.
Tired. It's so tired, dude. There's no new points to be made, and the people that are dug in on their one stance on him, it is annoying because you're not using any sort of information to change your thought process. It's, Jimmy's handsome, he looks good, they win games, I love it. That's not how this is working right now, though, at all, man. Nobody across the league believes what you believe. Nobody. If they did, Jimmy would have been moved the moment he was made available, right after the fucking NFC Championship game. God, bro. I'm just, God, man. I can't take this anymore.
I can't even conceptualize to people how much stress this quarterback conversation that started last year in January has caused me. And I feel like I'm pretty even keel, down the middle, try to look at both sides of things. And I have no skin in the game, bro. We sit here. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to talk about this stuff. And it's freaking stressful. Because to your point, there's nothing new being said. It's all just regurgitated things that we all understand, and we understand the dynamics at play. And it's just now, just wait. We just got to wait. We just got to see what they decide to do. And there's very limited options at this point. So this is going to be a conversation that I just hope that we're not having it in training camp. That's my only hope, is that we're just not having this conversation in training camp.
If I go to hang out with Jordan Elliott and Brad Graham and we go to cover camp and Jimmy Garoppolo is a part of that camp and that competition, I'm just going to warn Brad Graham and Jordan Elliott, you're not going to be a very nice person to hang around with. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I don't want to see the interception to an underneath linebacker. I don't want to see a 2-yard screen pass to Deebo that gets taken to the house. I don't want to see him lead a 2-minute drive and have everybody prop that up, as that was the only thing that he did when he made several egregious throws in practice. I can't do it, man. This team is beating me down. Like, I feel like I'm getting jumped. And again, maybe I'm being dramatic because it's just football. Who cares? But you guys want to hear what I have to say about this, and you guys want to tune. You want me to tune. You want to tune in so I can yell and be spicy and
No,
everything.
it's stressing everyone out. It's stressing
I don't want
team
to be this
employees
anymore.
out. It's stressing players out. It's stressing coaches out. It's stressing executives out. It's stressing content creators out. Again, if you've talked about Jimmy Garoppolo, you've probably caught an astray from some
Oh
random
yeah.
on one side or the
Oh yeah.
other.
I
So
can't
that
wait to go to
becomes
Twitter. I can't wait to go to Twitter after this so they could be like, "Yo, Jason's crying about Jimmy Garoppolo." I'm crying because you botched the situation. I don't care about the dude. I really don't care
we're
about the man.
done.
And if I
We're
had my way,
toast.
and I've gone mad long without talking about this man, trust me, I have, because I don't want to discuss him anymore. Because one, the argument is redundant. Redundant. Two, it's boring. And three, nobody has made any new points on either side for over a year. For over a year, nobody can make a different point. For every time that you want to prop up one game, I'll say Tennessee. For every time you want to say one bad game, I'll say this is a good game. But it's annoying. That's where we are. We're at the same point that we were an entire year ago, Brad. And we have no progress. None.
Nope.
None.
Nope, no progress. And we're also finding out just now, maybe to kind of get us
Uh-oh.
off the
Yes,
quarterback
please.
conversation a little
Yep.
bit, is does not appear like Arden Key will be
No.
returning to the 49ers. He is
It's not Kerry
visiting
Hyder.
with the Chiefs right now. And the 49ers clearly brought back two defensive end and Jordan Willis and Kerry Hyder. What are your thoughts on, do you think that becomes a cost conversation? You know, maybe they weren't able to pay Arden Key what he was looking for. Again, kind of going back to the conversations that we've heard about the cap space and signing a Jordan Willis and signing a Kerry Hyder at very, very cost efficient deals is kind of a potential casualty of the lack of cap space right now.
A little bit, but Kerry Hyder plays outside. And I think the thing that I liked about Arden Key, which is why I would have chosen Arden Key over Kerry Hyder, is his play inside and the way that they were able to get him going on the inside with stunts and things like that. And I'm not saying that Kerry Hyder's bad. He's not. And I'm actually really excited about that. He's a depth piece, though, right?
Total depth
So
space.
there's a lot of 49er fans that are like, well, he had 8.5 sacks in 2020. Oh, he was the only guy. He was
I
the
know.
only guy. It was him.
You can fall into sacks, and no disrespect to Kerry Hyder. He
None.
played
I'm
pretty
happy
well
he's
that
back.
year.
I'm very happy
But
he's back.
just like when we talk about players who don't get sacks, it can go the other way. Like
It's volatile.
you can have your hand on a guy pulling him to the ground, but he gets the ball off 27 times. That would have translated into maybe 6 or 7 sacks. Or look at Nick Bosa. He got a sack in the Bengals game and it got negated because Ambry Thomas threw hands in someone's face and they called a penalty. Didn't get that sack. Things like that happen all the time, and vice versa.
That's what I'm saying. Pressures are the way that you evaluate edge rushers or pass rushers in any way. Sacks are volatile. You know, who was the guy in Atlanta that had all the sacks and then was like out of the league the next year? My goodness, man, younger guy. I don't know why I want to say John Abraham, like he's not the oldest guy on. Wasn't the oldest guy on that team, but it was somebody on there that was just tearing it up, sack after sack after sack after sack.
And he play on the Saints by chance?
Maybe.
I
It's just more than anything.
I got a name in my head, but I can't even spit it out to say it. So
more than anything,
anyway.
sacks are not the way you evaluate pass rushers. You want results, that's cool. But I'd rather have a guy who pressures the quarterback, gets the pressure, and maybe he throws the ball up and it gets tipped and it's intercepted, than to have a guy who like is getting sacks because he went to turn one way, turned, and the guy just happened to be there and he just got pulled down by the sack.
That happens.
It happens all the time. You literally had no impact on the play other than being in your spot, right? Like you weren't like impacting his vision. He went to go that way, and Nick Bosa was on this side, and you turned, and it's like, oh, I'm right here, sack. K'Wan Williams gets sacks. That doesn't necessarily mean that those guys up front weren't doing their job, right? Like they're holding up that end of the portion, but you're going to give K'Wan Williams the credit because he got the sack, or you're going to give the guys who actually created pressure and demanded that attention. Like that's the part that is the part that I don't really jive with. So I don't evaluate edge rushers or pass rushers with sacks. I don't. I just don't. It's about what can you do. And I hate to be this guy, man. I really don't want to say this, but watch the damn tape. There's guys who don't get sacks that are the bigger impact on the play than the guy who actually tackled the quarterback, right? There's a guy who's got two guys on him, and he's still pushing him towards the quarterback, and that quarterback gets scared and turns, and there's an unblocked guy who runs on in, and he gets caught. Like, there's ways to evaluate all those things, but everything, just like every other position and every other stat, needs context the same way. Is the same thing. So with Kerry Hyder, he's going to be outside a little bit more, but I would have liked to see Arden Key come back as opposed to him just because of his versatility inside. But did it come down to money? Did it come down to where they're at right now? I don't know, man.
I mean, it definitely came down to money. He said it himself.
I'm sure that he was probably like, yeah, hey, this is what I want. And they're like, no. Well, one no, because probably Parag did this.
Oh, not the computer.
Nope. And then
nope.
And then they were like, oh, we also don't have any money.
Oh my god.
Basically, what's happening right now with Jimmy Garoppolo's contract is letting Parag off the hook. Now Parag doesn't look cheap. Now the computer doesn't look cheap, right? It doesn't look cheap because we got $27 million on our cap. Let's put the tinfoil hat on now for real. You know who's the real enemy of this front office. It's not John Lynch. It's not Kyle Shanahan. It's the guy that continues in good faith to operate the way he does with negotiating contracts. And there could be a blue chip stud right there in front of him. How much money do you want? $17 million. Well, we only have 15 for you. Have a good day. Get out. No negotiation. No like, hey, can we meet at 16? Maybe 16 and a half? No, get out. We only have enough money for this. Get out. We'll just sign a guy that Chris Kosuric knows, and we'll fill it in right there. That's how they operate. And that's why, in the beginning, I had the thought process of Jimmy Garoppolo isn't impacting his free agency because they've been notoriously cheap with players that they shouldn't be, and they've overpaid guys that they shouldn't have. Let's go down the names. Jerick McKinnon, Malcolm Smith, Quan Alexander. You gave all of these big deals out to guys immediately, right before free agency, the tampering, any of that stuff happened. Right. And then everything else is tier 3, tier 4 free agents, tier 5 free agents, like guys that you can just bring in. That's their philosophy. Part of that has to do with it. But now they've got the fallback plan of, well, we don't have $27 million to play around with, so we can't bring you back. Don't know.
It's a tough situation. Obviously, Jason and I are at our wits' end with talking about the same things every single day. But Sean says that the team as a whole believe in Kyle, then they would also believe in Trey. Well, that would have to be an indication that Kyle believes in Trey. If that's who Kyle wants. They couldn't come out and talk down about Jimmy. It's Trey time no matter what happens with Jimmy. Is it Trey time no matter what happens with Jimmy?
It better be. Because what did you do then? What did you do, dude? You know what the 49ers could have done instead of that? Keep pick 12 and all those other picks and just run it back with Jimmy one more year and then try to figure it out later on. My goodness, man, why doesn't anybody understand why this is such a bad situation and why that was such a wild move, man?
I'm gonna put the tinfoil hat on real quick. I think there's a world that exists where Jimmy going back to the Patriots was a real thing. I think the Cam Newton signing was, again, a posturing by Bill in the front office that, like, hey, we got a quarterback. We're not going to overpay for Jimmy. We're not going to look desperate. We got a quarterback. And then they moved to 3. The conversation about Mac Jones that, hey, guess what? 49ers content creator started about no Mac Jones at 3. Eventually dropped Mac to 15. Mac Jones should have been a top 10 pick.
Now
100%.
looking back in hindsight,
I thought it was going to be before the 49ers traded up. I thought it was going to be 5 quarterbacks in a row. That's what I thought. I thought it
and it
was going
should
to
have
be
been.
5 quarterbacks in a row.
It should have been. I think
I thought it was going to play out Lawrence, Wilson,
Fields.
Fields, probably Lance, and then Trey, or not Trey, Mac Jones. I thought it was going to be 5 up, 5 down. But the noise of the 49ers sitting at 3, the Mac Jones conversation, 49ers fans tearing Mac Jones down, I think that caused him to slide to 15 and completely, again, take away another quarterback destination where a team, I think, actively wanted Jimmy. And I think they were trying to play that game. And the game bit them it's been biting them since January of 2020. So we're exhausted. We're very
I'm tired. To quote the great Andrew Pasquini, I'm tired. I'm tired. It's March 24th. I'm gonna be eternal optimist that I am. My hair's gonna grow back in a month. We'll be in Vegas. We're gonna have some fun, and Jimmy Garoppolo won't be there anymore. He just won't be. And I'm just gonna continue to just put that out there. Manifestations and affirmations are where we're at in 2022. I'm just gonna keep on because I can't. I don't feel it. I don't feel that I can cover this team with this going on. Still, I really don't. And it's like everybody always wants to laugh at other franchises for being a circus. Well, look at you now, 49ers fans. You now are the people that everybody's looking around in the NFL like, what on earth are they doing? And they botched this. I promise you that's the reputation the 49ers have right now across the league. I promise you. How did they let this get to this point? How did this happen? Why did they let this happen? What are they doing? These are the questions that are being asked about your team. If this had been the Browns that had done something like this, you 49er fans will be crushing them right now. So you better just keep that same energy with your team right now, unfortunately.
Oh boy, Jason. It hurts. I just want to understand what is going on. I just want to know. I just want to know what the plan is. That's it.
I just want it to stop. That's it. I just want it to stop because now there are no destinations for Jimmy Garoppolo. The 49ers are going to cut Jimmy Garoppolo and he's just going to be out there and someone's going to sign him to backup money where they have a rookie or something like that and just like let him sit around. And that may be Jimmy Garoppolo's fate. The winner. The locker room guy. But only you look at it that way. Only you 49er fans, only you front office 49ers look at it like that. No one, 31 other teams are not sitting there like, man, we need to bring this guy in. All he does is win, man, and the locker room loves him. No, nobody believes that, especially at that price. Nobody believes that. And that's why you had to make that move right after you made the move for Trey. That's it. Sorry. I know you guys like the run. I did too. I thought it was great. You beat Dallas. You beat Green Bay. You were minutes away from the Super Bowl. I hear you. That was great. In hindsight, wrong decision. Wrong decision because now look at where you're at. I'm sorry. Wrong decision.
It hurts, Jason. What do you think about the 49ers moves in free agency thus far?
I think they're doing the best that they can. They're addressing a group of players on their team that were lacking, and now you have a returner. Ray McCloud might be the first person who can actually return a punt and move forward as opposed to fair catching it, which is already a plus. And you're talking about Burks, who is a lifetime special teamer, a guy like that. That's cool. You know, the 49ers love their special teams, man. Punter in the 4th round. Pay the kicker. Pay the kick returner. Okay, bet. That's one side. But you made the NFC Championship game with one of the top 3 worst units in the league. You know, like, so I hear you. You want to shore up the entire team. But, man, it would have been nice to add Chandler Jones or, you know, Stephon Gilmore or Tyrann Mathieu or anybody. Anybody who actually plays many snaps on the field as opposed to those so few snaps. You moved on from the coordinator, so maybe the coordinator can help. And you could bring in guys that you want that'll fix that. But to say that that's the automatic way that we're going to upgrade this team in spite of how much money you have on the books still for the quarterback, it's just whatever. Like, I don't know. Right now, the 49ers offseason is just incomplete because they should be doing more with more money. But that's their problem.
It's our problem now. Damn it, Jason.
Don't trade Deebo. That's all I want to say. Don't trade Deebo. Like, if you look, I don't care. I yelled about Jimmy Garoppolo for almost an hour. Please just don't trade Deebo. Please don't do that. That's wild.
Don't trade Bosa.
Don't trade Bosa either.
No.
Tired of everything.
So it just feels like, again, without being repetitive at this point, even though we are going to be repetitive.
I'm still here.
I got you. It's just it's a waiting game. It's a waiting game, and we're going to keep waiting until something falls. And I don't know. I think the more kind of conversation that swirls up around it is because it's starting to look like there might not be a destination or an end like we thought there was. So it's just something that we're going to, of course, continue to talk about and have to talk about until something goes down. But it just feels like I want that optimism back of last week where we're like, oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen when we're on the live. It's going to be crazy. Like, and now it's just like, we're like, oh boy, I don't think it's going to happen. And we're just gonna have to wait and see. It's literally a waiting game at this point because something's got to break one way. Something's got to break one way. You can't go into camp with 2 franchise quarterbacks. You need one. You can't have 2 because we've already seen what happens when you try to do that. It doesn't work because it lands on one. That means the other one is left holding the bag. Do you want the guy that you traded so much for to get to be the one holding the bag? I don't think so. So, again, draft's almost here, Jason. We got to somehow, I don't know.
I can't wait to see you again next month I'm going to San Jose that week, and we're all gonna like ride into Vegas and
take over Vegas.
Yeah.
We'll keep looking. We'll have that to look forward to. I don't know if we can look forward to a Jimmy Garoppolo trade, but we will be looking forward to going to the draft for sure.
If you're looking for me in Vegas, look for the guy on the strip who's crying into like into a big tall bottle of Casamigos because the quarterback is still there.
It's going to be a bunch of sad Niner fans, unless, they're able to make some draft day magic, which could be on the horizon. Who knows?
Oh, wait, like that movie with Kevin Costner, right? Which is completely unreliable. Like, isn't that what it is? Like, I literally saw that
Jimmy Garoppolo on a Post-it note, and Jimmy Garoppolo.
I saw that I saw the end on a Twitter post, and I thought it was hilarious. And it was like Kevin Costner is like arguing with the Seattle GM or something like that. I know you guys have probably seen it. I've never seen this movie because someone told me it was literally the most ridiculous football movie they've ever seen. And this alluded to it. He's like, I want my picks back. I want this, and I want that player. And the guy was just like, all right. And I was just like, that's not how any of this works at all. Like that team, that guy, that general manager that you're demanding all that from would literally tell you to go F yourself before he did all of those things, right? Like after you already egregiously traded away those picks. So yeah, hopefully draft day is like that Kevin Costner movie, except realistic.
Coach says the biggest movers and shakers in free agency didn't make the playoffs. We're not a couple guys away. No need to go splurging. One guy won't do it.
The same way that I'll push back on that is we all laughed at the Rams. Oh, the Rams are trading it all, right? They don't have picks. They won a Super Bowl. Win a Super Bowl, and I don't care what happens the next 3, 4, 5 years. I don't. How many people in this organization, how many people that are in this fan base would just love to have a Super Bowl? And the Rams,
if we had that one in 2019,
then none of this matters. I don't care what happens. Bring Jimmy back, run it back. Bring in everybody. I don't care.
Whole league's laughing at us. We're like, hey, we got 6 rings, bro. What are you talking about?
Man, that's not
no one would care.
That's not the way we look at this. The teams
winning cures everything, right?
The teams that are in free agency right now are bad teams. They've got no money. The Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, they've got a bunch of money. Jacksonville Jaguars. They've got a bunch of money. They're not good. Like the teams that are good can't spend in free agency, like the 49ers, which is still the NFC's wide open, even after all of this that I want to say. But the Rams have done literally in 1 year everything that you laughed at. You laughed at Von Miller. You laughed at Odell Beckham. You laughed at this. You laughed at that. You laughed at that. All that to sign Matthew Stafford and lose to the Niners. They won a Super Bowl. Win a bowl, and I don't care what happens 2, 3, 4 years down the line. Win a bowl so we can at least look back and say, we won in 2021. We won in 2020. Yeah. We won in 2019. Dude, Win a Super Bowl. I don't want to hear about the future. You know why? The same people that'll tell you the Rams are messing up because they traded they traded draft picks for known commodities are the same people that are going to look at you when you draft an Aaron Banks or a Trey Sermon. Oh, what a drop's a crapshoot, man. Who knows, man? You never know. No, take the you never know out. I am not into risk. I'm into what I know. And what I know is Von Miller helps immediately. Odell Beckham helps immediately. Allen Robinson helps immediately. And the Rams are going to be fine. You know what else the Rams got? A really good quarterback. Man. Sorry, guys. You're not about to get that one off. No way, man. Like win a Super Bowl. Win a Super Bowl. And there's different ways to skin a cat. The Rams won a bowl. And you think they care? They could go 6-10 next year, 6-11. You think they're gonna be like, damn, we won the bowl last year, but I don't care. We won 6-11 this year. They're gonna be like, all right, whatever. Things happen. It's been 1995. I was 10 years old the last time the 49ers won a bowl. Please, man, stop. Stop telling me about the future when the future is never getting here. Win it. Please just win it. What's wrong with that?
That's the ultimate goal. That's what we want. And it's been a hard task to get that, and we've gotten right there multiple times. Again, especially if you've been a fan for the better part of 2 decades, you know how the going through the tough years to then get the Harbaugh situation, feeling like we're finally out of the dark, 5 yards away from that 6th ring, the ultimate blunder, and it just feels like we're getting teased at this point. It's like, it's like that Geico commercial with the guy in the fishing tower. Oh, you almost got it.
Oh, you almost got it. You got to be quicker than that. That's a 49er.
Got to be quicker than that. That's a problem. Hey, you can look back and it summarize everything. You just got to be quicker than that. You got to move quicker than what they've been moving.
The other thing is the 49ers are in a different spot than certain teams, right? Like the Dallas Cowboys can't say, oh, we haven't won a bowl or whatever this long. Nah, you've never even been in the conversation. I think that's what makes this more frustrating for the 49ers and their fans is the 49ers are there like all the time. And they're there. And it's just like we always just got to be like, oh, well, next year, next year they'll bring it back. And next year it'll work out. Win it. Just win it, man. Win it. And then you know what? If the 49ers won the bowl and they had 3 straight years of where they had losing seasons, I don't care. I don't care, man. I really don't. I don't care. And none of you would care. You would just say, hey, we won it in 2019. Or, hey, we won it in 2020. Hey, we won it in 2021. So I don't want to hear that. When's the last time your team won a bowl? When can we say that? When are we going to get to say that?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Smith B, he's done with JG. I think both you and I are done talking about JG too. He says, talk about where you see the O-line, please.
Right now, question marks. John Lynch did a good job of dodging my question at the combine about where Mike McGlinchey really is because he still hasn't been cleared. Right guard is going to be Daniel Brunskill, and center we think is going to be Alex Mack. Left tackle is going to be Trent Williams. We think left guard is going to be Aaron Banks. So if you're starting to see where I'm going with this, Smith, is I think we know. I think there's no definitives, really. That's why I wanted La'el Collins. Let's say there's a world where you get La'el Collins, and La'el Collins was given nothing by the Bengals. The Bengals brought him in, and they fortified that line.
Yeah.
And let's say Mike McGlinchey's ready to go. We talk a lot about moving people for draft picks. What would people give up for a healthy Mike McGlinchey at right tackle, who's one of the best run blockers in the league? Someone would. So it's just, I don't know, man. The offensive line is really scary right now. Just because we only have 1-2 real people that are in there, and that's Brunskill and Trent Williams. Everything else is a question mark. Just a question mark. At this point. Can McGlinchey come back?
I think they could still lose Brunskill too.
They can.
Like, let's just say Mike McDaniel says, we're going to throw $4 to $5
million. Yeah, but
Joey,
for that quote that's in there, Joey said La'el Collins cost a fortune. He cost them nothing. the Bengals. Teron Armstead cost like 5 times what Lyle Collins cost the Bengals. It was a nothing deal that the Bengals gave him. And the 49ers are notorious for giving you a deal. Look at Charvarius Ward. Yeah. The 49ers are notorious for giving you your money up front and then making everything a year-to-year deal. Why couldn't you do that with Lyle Collins? Oh, I know why you can't do it with Lyle Collins. I'm sorry. I don't want to keep talking about it. But yeah.
I would have loved the idea of Collins at left guard next to Trent Williams. And he can always be that security blanket for the right tackle if needed. But I just saw this world that existed because I talk about it all the time. I'm like, oh, you can't just move offensive linemen and put them at tackle and guard. Well, Collins is one of those guys. He's one of those rare breeds that you could probably put anywhere on the offensive line and he'll be successful. So yeah, that was the guy that I really wanted, and I just dreamed about having him at left guard next to Trent. But there's so many questions regarding the offensive line that it really does feel like they're turning to the draft to address it. And so we're going to find out because, they took Jalen Moore, they took Aaron Banks. We didn't see Jalen Moore at the end of the year when he had an opportunity. Aaron Banks, is working behind the scenes. So we just gotta wait and see. It's pretty much where I think the 49ers stand it's just wait and see. It doesn't feel like as long as Garoppolo's on the roster, we're not going to talk about Garoppolo, but as long as he's here, it feels like the wait and see scenario exists, right? Right, Jason? It just feels like we're waiting no matter what.
Yeah, that's all we're doing. So look, let me run down Lyle Collins' very team-friendly deal as it is put out here. Lyle Collins' 3-year deal is worth $21 million with $5 million guaranteed.
You only got $5 million guaranteed? I didn't even know that.
So is Lyle Collins not dirt cheap?
That's cheap.
Will you stop and start reading the contract details? Start reading the contract. $5 million? $5 million?
He said he got real close.
Hold on. You gave $2 million to a backup quarterback. $5 million for a starting right tackle?
Oh, my.
When are you not going to wake up? Wake up! Wake up!
Thank you, Jason. I needed a laugh like that right now.
$5 million, and y'all talking about a fortune. What are y'all talking about? Wake up!
Oh boy.
My God!
Oh boy.
But you can't pay Lyle Collins because that's way too much money, man. I mean, hey man, he costs a fortune. Y'all don't even read the contracts. Read the contracts.
I hope someone somehow has like 3D or somehow. So it's like it looked like Jason's head just like came into their living room like woo.
But he costs a fortune, Brad. It's a fortune. It's a fortune, bro.
$5 million.
$5 million?
That's what I didn't know that. I didn't know that. $5 million? Really?
$5 million guaranteed. Oh my God. A fortune. Break the bank. $2 million for your backup quarterback who will never play. What are you talking about?
I didn't know that. That makes it hurt even more. Man. So clearly this show has been a bit of a venting session, I think. Jason and I, we talk about the 49ers football. We talk about 49ers football every day. So there's only so many things that we can say at a certain point.
Look,
now,
here.
We're just venting at this point.
I'll say it more calmly too. Here, let's go through all of the Lyle Collins contract details. Ready? The 28-year-old, he's old. The 28-year-old Lyle Collins signed a 3-year, $21 million contract. Collins received a $5 million signing bonus, and over $7 million is tied to per game roster bonuses. His base salary is $1.2 million in 2022. The Bengals are getting tremendous value for a player with Pro Bowl potential.
That's a lot. I mean, excuse me. That's not a lot. That's I didn't know that.
Nobody did because he's too
I
expensive.
didn't know that. I didn't look into it. I would be lying to you if I said Lyle Collins signed with the Bengals. Let me go run and see what the contract details look like. I didn't even. I was like, oh,
$5 million you paid your backup quarterback to. All right, Brad. I think this is the best time to end it. I gotta take care of Averly, man. I gotta do something, man. Like,
let's go. We appreciate everyone. We normally have we just awesome vibes, but and not to say that we don't have awesome vibes today. It's just we're frustrated. We're tired, right? We've been through it. We've said the same things for a long time now. So it's just one of those situations.
and look, one more thing. One more thing. Look, if you bring in Lyle Collins for what you paid, right? Mike McGlinchey is as healthy as your general manager says, and he's attacking his rehab, and Mike is always. Then you trade Mike McGlinchey because he's as healthy as John Lynch is saying, right? Who would say no to a number 9 pick, number 1 run blocking right tackle if he's healthy? Listen to your GM. Your GM is talking. Oh, but McGlinchey's not healthy. So that's funny now that Joey's saying that. I asked the question, he dodged it. That's the point. If he's as healthy as you say he is, John Lynch, I asked you the question. Me. I asked you the question. You didn't answer it. All you said was some generic Mike McGlinchey's attacking and he's still here and you didn't say anything about what I asked you about. What does that have to do with your draft process and how you're going to go because you need a right tackle? No, Mike's doing great. Mike's been attacking. Mike's going to be here next year. Mike's going to be still here. That's the point. If he's as healthy as you're saying, as you said, because I got the video. I ain't lying. I got the video. You ain't lying. If Mike McGlinchey is as good as you said, 28-year-old Lyle Collins comes in for that amount of money, and then you get to reset your position and figure it out again next year and try to figure out what goes on. Mike McGlinchey gets sent, and you get something back for him if he's as healthy as you say. If he's as healthy as you say. But, Joey, that's my point, Joey. That's my point, Joe. Read between the lines. I was there. I'm reading between the lines, dude. I told you that he's not healthy. That's why you go get Lyle Collins. Oh, my goodness, bro. What on earth? All right, let's go. Let's go, Mike. Let's go.
Joey and Jason are going at it. Someone said,
goodness gracious. That's my point. That's my the guy makes my point at the end of the entire time and then is like acting like he's like stunting on me. I'm like, bro, that's what I was telling you. He's not healthy. But if you're telling people that he's healthy and you're believing that, come on, bro. Like, what are you doing? $5 million for Lyle Collins, and if Mike McGlinchey can't make it, then you make a move and you get rid of him or whatever, and he can't play anymore, and you figure that out. Like, come on, man. It's all there in front of you, man. It's all right in front of you. And I'm not trying to shit on Mike McGlinchey because I think that he's way better than many people give him, shit for. But it's like, what are you supposed to do right now when this guy is not saying anything that makes any sense, and he's just giving you, like, straight up, like, generic answers? Mike McGlinchey has a 50-50 chance, and he still hasn't been cleared, and doctors have said as much, that his injury is super severe. But what are you going to do? Tom Compton left. So who's going to run right tackle? Who's going to run right tackle?
Colton McKivitz, baby.
Moore?
Let's go.
Justin School. Justin School?
Comeback cool season, baby.
Yeah, cool with that. Okay.
What an episode, Jason. What an episode. The people are loving it. They're loving Spicy Aponte came out tough today, and rightfully so.
And I thought I got a bunch of sleep. And I was going to be good, but goodness gracious, man. You had to start talking about Jimmy.
Yeah, that was the mistake. But, you and I, we both got to go take care of our kids. We got lots of stuff to do, but we'll continue to be talking about this. We'll be back next week to be talking probably more Jimmy Garoppolo saga. Probably someone else is going to get floated in a trade. Next, it's going to be Bosa. We're going to be talking about trading. It's par for the course at this point. But tell the good people here where they could follow and find more content, Jason.
Nowhere, because all I'm gonna do is
He
just
said
all I've said. No,
nowhere.
yeah, that's it. You're not gonna find me anywhere anymore at any time anywhere.
Jason's like, I'm currently in contract negotiations with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I will not.
PR
I will
department at the
not pod.
moment.
I will not podcast on franchise tag. I'm telling you right now, I will not, man. I will not.
Jason's like, I refuse to podcast until Jimmy is moved. He's
Until
pulling
there's a
back.
deal in place, that's it. I will not podcast on a franchise tag. Nah, man. Like look, I get a little crazy or whatever. But hey, man, look, I'm just passionate. That's all. And I appreciate everybody for tuning in. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Jason Aponte 2103. On YouTube, Jason Aponte, and some stuff coming from the Patreon where I'm doing all. I'm getting away from the Jimmy G stuff by going onto my Patreon and just putting up evaluations of players. That's it. Like, that's the way that I get away from all of this, is that I just look to the draft, and that's it, man. So yeah, man. Follow me on there, and shout out to everybody that's in here. Joey, I wasn't trying to go at you like that or whatever. I'm just, my bad, bro. I get a little like, out here with it or whatever.
Just a little spicy.
Man. Yeah, just a little bit, man.
Aponte,
yeah,
especially when we talk about Jimmy.
That's it, man. Yeah, like, I'm gonna go take care of Averly. Her nose is running probably right now or whatever. I'm gonna get ready to put her to bed in a little bit. But yeah, man. Shout out to everybody that's in here. And shout out to everybody who donated. And make sure you like this video, subscribe to both of our channels, and like the video on both of our channels. I mean, Brad's big time, man. He's interviewing 49ers players, and then all of a sudden he's just bringing me on, and it's like, man,
stop it.
Nobody needs me.
Stop it. Justin says, did Miami go after Deebo?
That was a rumor today in the space.
I heard that one.
That was a rumor today in the space.
I heard that rumor too.
I don't be in the spaces.
That's from a Dolphins. It's from a Dolphins fan.
Yes,
that's
I
why
don't be in the spaces like that.
One connected to the Niners.
Right. I don't be in the spaces like that. I'll jump in here and there, but like, I try to stay away from them. But someone said that they have sources with Miami that deal was floated towards the 49ers before it was floated to Hill. Again, I don't know how real that is, and I don't know if that's true. Many people have sources. I had a guy tweet on my timeline that Jimmy was going to be traded for 2 picks from the Colts. They were going to re-sign Lakin. They were going to re-sign DJ. And literally everything in that person's tweet was wrong. I don't know what to believe at this point, so I'm just going to wait for the Rappaport and Chef de Bomb.
That's all you can do at this point. That's all you can do at this point is just wait.
Twitter spaces be sounding like fight night. Worse than that. Like, these people don't be wanting to fight. They be talking. They be wanting to give addresses out and like pull up. They
want to pull up. It's wild.
Yeah, people are trying to pull up and it's like, hey man, we're just talking about football. Relax, man. Like, a lot of people have a lot of things going on.
I mean, I know the 49ers, internally are smart enough to understand that, hey, this situation is causing a real problem in the fan base. Like, this isn't just like me and you being podcasters and we're talking and like, no, we've been watching this for a better part of a year and a half at this point. Like, This stuff's boiling over. Like, this fan base that we keep talking about the same things, and at a certain point it moves past the actual topic and it gets real personal, and it's becoming wild. But hey, that's the bet that's being made for the fan base at the moment, and hopefully they are able to recoup value, because if they don't recoup value from this Jimmy Garoppolo situation, it becomes hurtful on so many levels, not only from the business of football standpoint, not only from a player personnel standpoint, but what you put your fan base through, man. Like, there has to be a level of like ownership that, we get it. They don't care really. They're going to make the moves at the end of the day that they see best fit for their team, and rightfully so. But there also has to be an at least conscious thought that trickles down to the fan base, and the fan base is they're tearing each other apart, man. They're pulling up. They're going to be pulling up at the airport here pretty soon. All that kind of stuff.
And that's the crazy thing, man. It's like, we're all fans of the same team, but because of the opinions that we have with Jimmy Garoppolo and certain things, it's like, look, guys, I get, I know y'all love Spicy Aponte. Y'all love, like, me. Y'all like, what I'm saying, acting up, everything, But that's all out of passion. Like if we were talking, like you pulled up to a game and you said, "What's up?" I'm not gonna like beast on you. Well, I would have the same sort of passion. I just wouldn't be, like that energy towards all that. There's a lot of grown men that have a lot of things that they need to worry about outside of football. Take care of your family, take care of your business, man. Like,
Yeah.
promise you, man. Like,
We
the
should
the
be
best
getting in
part about
fights over Jimmy
this is still
Garoppolo,
right,
man.
and this is still the best fun that I have because you know what I have when I turn this camera off and I go and I've got real life problems. I've got things that I have to deal with that require much more attention. So if I come on here for an hour and a half and I yell a bunch, I feel great afterwards because I get it all out. My wife is tired of hearing me talk about this. My wife don't want to hear it. My wife don't want to hear it. Avery don't want to hear it.
She's done.
Like I'll walk in the room and I'll be like, "Yo,
Don't
can you
mention
believe that
Jimmy
Deshaun
around
Watson
me.
just got traded to the Browns?" And she'll be like, "I don't care. I have no idea what you're
I
talking about at
literally
this point."
don't care.
So the only people that I can vent any of these things to are you people. That's it. And whether you agree or not, that's completely on you. But I am not like this normally in real life. So I just, want to say that. If we pull up at a game, say what's up. Let's have a beer. I'll be as passionate. I trust you. I care as much as you think I do. But it's also never just going to be in that way where,
Right.
oh, you got to come see me or anything like that. The only reason that I'm going to be doing that is because someone's threatening my existence. That's it. That's all.
That's it. So again, bringing it all back to earth. We're good. We're Gucci. We're just a little frustration, a little spiciness.
Justin said my wife don't want to hear it either.
That goes for all of us.
Justin's running in trying to show. Justin's running in trying to show his wife the Ernest Johnson highlights. Like, yo, this is who the 49ers need to sign or whatever. She's just like, I don't care, man. Like, I just.
Justin's out here showing his wife, "Hey, you seen this prospect? Yeah, have you seen this prospect?
Hey, man, I'd be like, yo, what you think of Leon O'Neal or this person? And she's just like, I don't care. Like, I don't.
Christ, man.
Christ, man. No, man, I don't want to do that.
All of a sudden, his wife starts pulling out Rich impressions. He's
Rich
like,
impressions.
How do you know Rich? How do you know Rich?
Rich?
Oh, man. What an episode.
Yeah, man.
We got to get back to our families, man.
Yeah, man.
We got to get back because
shout out to y'all, man. Thank you guys for pulling up. This is a lot of
100%.
fun. Always love. Always love. Always good energy, anything like that. I may yell a little bit, but I ain't gonna do nothing to you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Same thing. So let's keep it that way.
Yeah. We're just having, at the end of the day, we're here for vibes. We're here to talk about Niner football. It is what it is, man. But appreciate everyone vibing with us. Make sure you smash that like button on your way out. Again, doing the dual stream, hop into both channels, smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribing to both. And, we're getting thanks for the therapy, Jason. That's really what it is, man. At a certain point, we can't vent to our wives and our families all the time. We'll come into this area, and this is how we hash it out. Right. So we'll hash it out next week too, Jason.
And we need y'all.
I'll see you next State of the Franchise. We'll see how it goes, but I appreciate everyone hopping in, and we'll see you guys